Great. And all right, go ahead, Mr. Receiver.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kapoor. Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, February 27, 2024. We are joined here today for the Municipal Financial Recovery Advisory Committee meeting, MFRAC. Joined here today, my name is Michael Dowry, and I have the pleasure of serving as receiver for the City of Chester. Joined here today on behalf of the Governor's Office and Department of Community and Economic Development, Mr. Andrew Sheaf, Deputy Director Andrew Sheaf. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And on behalf of Delaware County Council, Ms. Kelly Diaz, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And on behalf of the City of Chester, Mayor Roots, good afternoon, sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
I have not had any communication with Councilman Davis today. Hopefully he is able to join us here shortly. As always, joined by Chief of Staff to this engagement, Mr. Vijay Kapoor, and Executive Assistant from DCED, Mr. Cody Dill. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
All right. Well, let's jump right in. We are a minute or so behind schedule. Let's start with public comment. Mr. Dill, did we receive any public comment since our last meeting?
We have not received any public comment. Excuse me. So just again, would like to encourage the public to reach out to the committee. Comments or questions can be sent to us directly at info@chesterreceivership.com. There's also various links on our website to do so as well, but the best method to get questions or comments to us is the email address info@chesterreceivership.com.
Thank you, Mr. Dill. Before we jump into today's presentation, is there any general comment from the committee members? Anything you wanted to discuss before we get into today's presentation? Mr. Mayor Roots?
Yeah, hi, thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to take a few seconds to talk about what we've been working on, or what I've been working on this week, along with council, our solicitor, and a few other partners, and that's an ethics policy for the City of Chester. And what I believe is that good governance is essential to meeting my particular objectives as mayor, to giving the city the best path forward to recovery. And I kind of built out maybe five reasons why an ethics policy is important. And, although we're talking MFRAC and financing, ethics goes hand in hand, and you'll find out why as I complete this. But, the city needs a ethics policy and a high integrity city government to attract investment and high wage jobs. Businesses and investors need to believe the city can be an honest partner. I hear it every day when people call here and have wanted to do business with the city in the past. We're going to remove some of the obstacles that they've come up with. Number two, we need an ethics policy and higher integrity city government to level the playing field and to be a functioning advocate for the arts district right outside my window here, to be a reliable partner in attracting foundation support, to improve the quality of life on the streets, and to provide a consistent and just permitting process. Good government does not sign on to bad contracts. Number three, we need an ethics policy and high city integrity government to hold polluters accountable, to make sure no more bad actors come to the city, to provide municipal validation of the crime of environmental justice, and to use the solicitor's office to contest polluters and to build strong county and state relations to ensure justice for Chester. Number four, we need an ethics policy and high integrity city government to build fair employment practices and to make the best deal possible as we go through bankruptcy. Integrity is power. We need to convince the state and other partners that we can manage our affairs and that we can be trusted to execute a favorable settlement with employees. We can't negotiate a good settlement on behalf of employees unless we convince the state that we'll be responsible after the receiver leaves. Good government does not forget to make $40 million in police pension contributions. We need an ethics policy and high integrity city government to convince the old guard, those who are the solid citizens in our community who've suffered all these years and sometimes have given up in despair. Will they believe in government again? Do they even believe government can help them? Good government is the only way to end the humiliation, to bring our best people to governance, and to get the receiver out of Chester. Sorry, Mr. Michael Dowry, but we want you out of here once your work is done. We need good government to get the receiver out of Chester so we can manage our own affairs. I'm building an ethics campaign. It's a campaign that employs our stakeholders, our citizens, the business community, our local university, our labor leaders, and the employees right here in Chester city government. We're all going to put our heads together and to come up with something that's fair and equitable and that really makes our city accountable. People need to trust us. It's going to take effort, but we're going to get our trust back. A strong ethics policy becomes the keystone in that effort. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the push. If you may have said this, I'm sorry if I missed it. Do you have any idea of timeline of how you expect this project to advance and when it will be before council?
We're looking at the second council meeting in, what's the next month? March. We've got some good drafts, and for the team that's putting this together, we really want to get it right coming out the box. So although we wanted to present it in tomorrow's council meeting, again, we have a good start. We brought on a couple new partners, particularly Widener University, who was very interested to have their law school take a stab at this. So it's really exciting to make that connection as well. So in an effort to not rush, but also in an effort to get this thing done, I'm really pushing that our solicitor, our employees, and I'm gonna get out into the community and talk to some people there. We want to get this done by the end of next month, March.
Thank you for Mayor. If I'm not mistaken, that would be an introduction at the second meeting in March. So it would be first meeting in May till it's adopted?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, anytime we do an ordinance, it has to have several readings, and it could, go into additional edits after that. But you're right, it could be May before it's actually adopted. Best case scenario.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for Mayor Roots? All right, well, seeing none, hearing none, we'll continue on with our regular updates. Mr. Kapoor, would you like to combine your general updates with your presentation?
I would, Mr. Receiver. Thank you. In terms of what we're going to be talking about today, it really kind of dovetails nicely with what the mayor had talked about, as well as as well as just sort of the general kind of operations and transition that we're making here now that we've got clarity from the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Since we've gotten that decision, there's a fair amount of work that all of us have been doing, whether it's on the receiver's team, city staff, city elected officials, to basically transition from the way things had been done to what is in the both the amended recovery plan and the plan modification, because now all of those provisions are in effect. And so one of those provisions, as the mayor was talking about, was the implementation of an ethics policy. And it's great to see that the city is moving on that. And glad to hear that there's some initial drafts there as well. Another area that we have been working on and that has come up, and that what I'd like to talk about today is regarding a vacancy in the city engineer's position. As many of you will know, within the plan modification gives the receiver the ability essentially to hire and fire all city employees, including those who were appointed by council through the Home Rule Charter. That includes the city engineer, and there is a vacancy in the city engineer's position that needs to be filled as soon as possible. So what we're doing today is just discussing this with MFRAC, kind of bringing it to you, really more for discussion. There's no action that MFRAC takes on any of the receiver's actions. Really just an opportunity to keep you guys in the loop and to answer any questions and to consult with you regarding this situation. So I've got a couple of slides. Trust me, it's not a 40-minute presentation. There's only a couple of slides here that I think will probably help us orient a little bit to the matter. And what I'll do is go ahead and share my screen and talk everybody through this. Okay, so what I have here is again, a couple of slides here talking about the city engineer vacancy. And the city engineer resigned effective February 16th of 2024. And as of this moment, the city engineer position is vacant. Now, this is a really important position, and it needs to be filled immediately because the city has several capital projects that are ongoing that need engineering services. We've got a significant backlog of capital projects that I think many of you know about. there's a typo here. I really mean, and the looming December 31st, 2024 deadline to commit ARPA funds. We have received, as many of you know, a significant amount of money from the federal government, and there's a need by the end of this year to make sure that funding is committed. And in some of those areas, what the city is looking to do is looking to help kind of deal with some of the capital projects backlog, and we need engineering services for all of that. We recognize in the plan modification and really in the amended recovery plan. I'm just going to refer to that as the recovery plan going forward. One of the main goals that we have as part of this is the need for the city to address its significant capital infrastructure issues. I think just kind of going around Chester, many of you know roads, bridges, city buildings, infrastructure. There's just a lot to do, and even relative to other third-class cities, we're really kind of behind when it comes to needing to get moving and trying to start to improve some of that infrastructure. One thing I will note here, just for the committee's information as well as the public, is that because engineering services are considered a professional service, we don't need to do an RFP. It's like legal services. There's certain types of services that a municipality can contract just directly without having to go through an RFP process. Engineering services are one of those. So let me just spend a second here on kind of the framework here and the law, if you will. If you look at the City of Chester's charter, it talks about the engineer position being either a professional city engineer registered in Pennsylvania or an engineering firm similarly registered. So prior to this, it had been an individual. But under the city charter, you can either have a city engineer as an individual or as a engineering firm. And most municipalities, most cities really the size of Chester, use an engineering firm. And the reason for that is, you've got a lot of work and you've got a lot of work in a lot of different areas. And so it's very common, especially here in Delaware County, for a municipality to have a engineering firm serve as the city engineer. As I mentioned earlier, the recently approved plan modification, this provides the receiver with the sole ability to essentially hire and fire. I won't read all of this, but including employees appointed by city elected officials per the home rule charter. So the receiver needs to meet and discuss with the mayor and city council, but he has the power to enact any of these decisions. And just for everybody's knowledge, the receiver did meet with the mayor and city council last week on February 23rd of 2024. So we do have a recommended engineering firm here. The city's chief of staff, Leonard Leitner, contacted several engineering firms to obtain information on their services. Chief Leitner has been working diligently on capital projects and has a good sense of what the needs are here in the city. And he reached out, again, to several engineering firms to get information about their services as well as pricing. And he actually had a recommendation that he provided to the receiver and council that the city engage an engineering firm known as Colliers Engineering and Design as the city's engineer based on its depth and its capacity to provide a wide range of engineering services to the city. This firm is a national engineering firm. It has offices in Philadelphia, Conshohocken, and Exton. As I understand it, should the receiver decide to have the city engage this firm, their project manager would be based out of the Conshohocken office and would have the ability to also be on site several days a week here in Chester. So that is essentially the overview here of the situation. Just wanted to bring it to MFRAC's attention. I'm not sure if Receiver Dowry or any of the members of the committee would like to say anything more, ask any questions, but I will stop sharing and allow someone else to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor. As always, your presentations or PowerPoints are right on. Does anyone on the committee have any questions for Mr. Kapoor or myself?
I don't have any questions, but I just have to make a comment that, as a degreed engineer myself, this position is very near and dear to my heart. watching what has occurred in my last 2 years here in city government with regard to our engineering services, it really just came down to capacity. We have a lot of work that has to get done, and particularly with the American Rescue Plan projects. I'll never forget Leonard Leitner, our chief of staff, saying that on my desk, I've got 200 projects and no one to do them. When you hear statements like that, I mean, that really hammers home the importance of having project management skills or a methodology in-house and engineering services from a wide range of disciplines. As that charter passage said, civil engineer as an individual or a firm, we've had a very good civil engineer service, up until just recently, but the needs for this community goes well beyond civil engineering. It's going to cost us a little more with the firm, but we're getting a lot more, from the firm. It wasn't like a lot of work wasn't being done without or with services that extended beyond civil engineering services, but that always came at a cost. So we were always outsourcing, whether it was electrical or streets or lights or mechanical or structural, those type of services. The work has to get done, and we end up outsourcing that stuff. Now that we have one firm or potentially one firm that can do it all, it really is going to become a lot more efficient, a lot more affordable, and a much smarter way to go. So that's your 2 cents from an engineer himself that's, kind of running the ship here. This is a critical choice that we're making, and it's going to make a difference almost immediately. We can't give $1 back to the federal government when it comes to ARPA projects, and that's what's going to happen if these projects don't get complete.
Thank you for the additional context, Mayor Roots. I wouldn't dare challenge anything you just said, but I agree with you wholeheartedly on the need for additional capacity and the efficient nature of engaging one firm to provide all of that capacity versus a host of firms to try to make up the difference. Does anyone else on the committee have any questions or concerns?
Sure, Receiver. Yeah, I just wanted to echo the comments. I mean, it's one thing to have funds. It's another thing to have projects, but you just have to have capacity to get this stuff done. You see it across the state in different cities. There's a lot of work to do, and there's money with ARPA. But if you don't have the people in the right place to get things done, it gets held up. And the projects you guys are talking about are projects that make a difference that people can see. They walk around in and appreciate and directly affect the quality of life. So I just, want to say I'm encouraged that you guys have identified a firm, somebody to keep this moving, and we just encourage that to keep moving along at the pace you guys are going.
Thank you, Mr. Sheaf. Okay. Context is always appreciated. All right, well, we'll continue on. Mr. Kapoor, thank you for your presentation and the comments on today. I'll just quickly share that it's still always encouraging folks to visit the city's website to keep up on the vacancy postings. Encourage all to apply or tell a friend. And there's a lot more work to be done. So we're really trying to increase capacity in every way that we can, and really need your help and support to do that. Before we close, are there any final comments for anyone on the committee? All right, just a quick reminder that our next meeting will be March 13th. That's right, March follows the same schedule. March 13th and March 27th will be our lineup for next month at 1 p.m. I look forward to reconvening, but as always, we're available in between for anyone who wants to reach out. So thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Thanks.